You're listening to In Sumter with Sarah Jane, a show about celebrating Sumter, a part of the Item Podcast Network, presented by SKF.
Like, calm yourself
simmer down.
People are doing so good here. Anyways, okay, well, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
I'm Sarah Jane, and you're in Sumter with Melanie Colclough, and we're going to talk about her whole life. The whole thing.
Stay tuned.
Settle in. We got 5 hours.
And I have content. I do.
Then, and so this week's drink, you chose Johnny's Juice Bar.
Hot stuff.
And then I have a Glow. I used to get these before I went to get my facials.
I may have to try it, but I'm so loyal
To
anything with ginger. I'm just loyal.
I'm a little bit allergic to ginger.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know, but it does look really good.
I love it.
So weird. I like carrot juice. I think it tastes like dirt.
And that's a good thing?
It's a good thing.
Okay.
Like, I also like beets, and I think beets taste like dirt too.
They do. And I've learned to, it's an acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste.
I learned to tolerate them, I should say.
All right, very good. Well, we have, a whole bunch to dive into.
Okay.
I guess we could just start with, everything going on right now with Black Lives Matter and protesting across everywhere. You said something before we started recording that I really liked, that, like, you don't want to be the spokesperson for a whole race of people.
I don't. I can't be.
Right.
The topic is so sensitive, so important, so deep. It has so many layers. People have such different perspectives because it's their life's perspectives. And a part of that is getting more than one person to talk about that and then put the layers together. Because I will say that I am so happy to hear the conversation is starting to happen because I have been getting weary, as probably a lot of people who look like me, because a lot of times in life when you scream oppressed, or sad, I'm sad, or something, and nobody listens, anger starts to erupt. And I really hate that it had to take this and a man dying in such a horrific way for us to just talk about it. Nothing has been resolved. People haven't stopped rioting, but we're just at a place of talking. And I hate that it had to take all of that, and even a pandemic for that.
Yeah.
But we're here, and so
because the world was kind of quiet. You just said that, and I hate to interrupt you, but the world was a little bit quiet for a while, and then this happened. It was like back to our same BS. And so
I'm hoping that's what I really wanted to say. So thank you for the segue.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, I hope that we're not doing all of this and going through all of this in vain. We're arguing with each other. We're mad at our neighbors. Although the conversation needs to happen, it would be a shame if people died, all of this destruction, and there wasn't anything positive to come of it.
Right.
Of course, we want justice for Aubrey's and George's families, of course. There is a lot of other good that can come from this as well in our own communities, and I really hope that we embrace it and not just talk about it like it's a fad, like it's the thing to do right now.
Right.
And then we all forget about it.
Well, and Katie brought up, my sister, if nobody knows, brought up a really good point of, if somebody is talking to you about race now, it's not because it's just now important. It's probably because they just now feel either comfortable to talk to you about it, there's space to talk about it, or maybe they are a part of the fad. But I would think that most of it is we feel safe. It feels okay to talk about it now. There's a space for it. So
I'm just thankful for that, and I hope that something positive, a move, a shift, a positive move will come of all of this. And as I said before, if there's a conversation to be had with several people, I am happy to be a part of that.
Well, I really would like to see if I could get several people around our tiny table and talk about it. I just started doing podcasts and speaking on this level, so it's intimidating to me. It's intimidating every time I get up and do this, but but I would love to.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I feel good about making it happen. Okay, so
You heard it here, so we have to. It's live.
do it.
People, it's out there now, so
Yep.
it has to happen.
Let me write it down, or I won't do it.
I'll call you. I'll text you. I'll bother you until it happens.
Okay. That is never that I don't want it to happen. It's always like it's got to get to the list so that it can get a little time block. So, good start already. And, talking to Micah, like, this is, of course, going to somehow, just the whole topic, it's woven into your life of just how you grew up. And then we started talking about how you grew up, and I want to go back to that, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So I assumed you grew up in Sumter, and I'm sorry.
That's
You grew
okay.
up in Manning.
In the big city.
The big city of Manning. So, and I have family over there and love to go visit. So
Love Manning. Love the quietness. I couldn't say that growing up, but I've come full circle. And this was Sumter was... my husband and I, we lived in Columbia for a while. Well, let me just jump into the story.
Well, how'd you meet your husband?
Oh, that's a story too.
Okay. You start with the story. You start. I'll make notes.
I'll make it really quick though. Let's see. So we actually knew each other since we were 7. He's also from the area. I was born and reared until 4 years old in New York. I'm a Yankee.
Nice.
But really I'm not. I was
all
reared
Southerner.
down here. I'm all Southern girl now. But so my family moved back here it's my father's hometown, and David, who's my husband.
Okay.
He is a Air Force brat. And so his father went to Germany, met his mom, they got married, had my husband, and they traveled several places and came back to his father's hometown, which is Colclough. So we met, we went all over, we met at 7, and we were really good friends. We were in school together, a lot of classes together. He had a crush on me. I was not feeling him.
Times are so hard in kindergarten. You got a lot of options.
Right?
You got a lot of
It was too early to pick. It was too early to pick.
I like a girl that keeps her options open.
I
Yes.
had things to do with people to see, people to meet. Really, not
Can't get tied down.
We went throughout school without dating or anything. We're just really good friends. And because he was kind of a band geek, and I was the cheerleader, and so we were just in different circles. Also.
And then it was a little taboo. Can't cross the band cheerleader line.
He was just a lot. Just put it this way, he was interested in things that I wasn't at the time.
He was a little weird.
Yeah. He was a little special.
David, you won in the end. It's okay.
He is so confident. He is not worried about this conversation at all. So we both actually graduated. And the funny thing about it is we went into our separate lives. I mean, he was married before.
Wow.
Yeah, he made a mistake. He couldn't get me earlier, so he thought he could settle. No, I'm just kidding. Joking.
Oh my God, I love it.
He went on his way. He became a Marine. We both went to the University of South Carolina in Columbia. Our paths didn't cross. As a matter of fact, it was so funny because we were both in Africa at the same time.
What?
Now, when we got together and we started dating, we started talking about our lives and catching up, and we realized I was there on a group study exchange with Rotary.
Okay.
South Africa, and he was in Djibouti with the Marines.
Oh my God.
But it was just weird that we were on the same continent at the same time.
Yeah.
Of course, we weren't going to run into each other, but
no,
it was just a little far apart. We both lived in Atlanta at the same time. We both lived in Columbia at the same time, but our paths just never crossed. And
I love stories like that.
Really, let me make it even weirder for you.
Please do.
So when we went to buy furniture, again, paths didn't cross. Bought them at different places. Had the same furniture.
What?
So when we actually got married, it was easy to kind of move in things. People have the problem. What are we going to keep? We didn't have that
We
problem.
don't need 2 of these. Which one looks better?
As a matter of fact, who kept it better really was the question. So God brought our paths back together. I was coming back from grad school in New York, and I needed a break. I was trying to decide what to do after that, whether to come back home to South Carolina. I had some job offers some other places, and was trying to decide what to do. And his father was unfortunately dying. And so it brought him back home, and our paths crossed. And actually, we started.
What a time to meet.
I know.
A lot of life changes, a lot of emotions.
My whole life is a life change, let me just tell you.
I feel that.
we were both trying to figure out things during that time, and it was our 20-year high school reunion, and both of us decided independently to help plan it, and we were inseparable ever since that day. So it was like 2009, I think, and then we got married maybe a year later. Unfortunately, got pregnant with Gabriel, our son, and lost him in the 8th month unexpectedly. And it's a part of my, journey, and it was really sad, but it brings me to my other parts of my journey. Mm-hmm. So that's how we met. That's how we know each other.
And now you have 5 sweet babies.
Because of Gabriel, really. Because of that whole journey. Would you like to hear?
Yeah.
So,
of course, I would like to hear about it. Absolutely.
So Gabriel died 8th month, very unexpected. We still don't know what happened. It just happened, and so it was very devastating, as you can imagine. And I've always wanted to adopt. I had 2 friends in grade school, who were adopted, and I kind of followed their paths. And talked to one of them in depth, and it just something that just pulled at my heartstrings. And so I always knew I wanted natural and adoptive kids. Well, natural didn't work out, and that was so devastating. And so we chose faith, and so we decided, you know what, God may be trying to get our attention, and this is a really, really, and I know a lot of people can't see it that way or feel like that's harsh. But death is not the worst thing for God. We're not here to stay. That's not the purpose of us being here. So we decided to cling to our faith. We became ministers through the Bethesda Church of God. And in that walk, we were just like, you know what? It's time to stop playing around and let's adopt. And I reached out to a friend of mine. His mother and father adopted 11 or 12 young boys. In the course of several years. And I reached out to her because it was a ministry for her. If you don't know, a lot of black children, if they are not adopted by 7 or 8, I believe, typically they age out of the system. And so she felt it in her heart through Christ that she would not let this happen anymore, or try to at least do what she could in her own world, and started to adopt these young men, and they're college educated now, or they serve our military, and I'm very proud of her. Anyway, I was so proud of her. I called her. Her name is Miss Marie Harvin, and I called her up and I said, let's talk, because I really want to do adoption. I don't know anyone else has been through this process. And she was so excited. She gave me the name of a social worker that she works with in another state. And so I called the lady, all excited, and the lady was excited because she loves Miss Harvin, and she said, Melanie, I love you already. If you know Miss Harvin, she
friend of hers, friend of mine.
She mistakenly thought we had already been through all the
stuff,
necessary things, and so she said, I have 4 kids ready for you to come through this process. And I was like, I said I wanted to adopt one. I've never been a mom. Is this lady crazy? I did say that. And so I was like, say what now? So she explained to me that a lot of younger kids especially typically come in sibling groups. Unfortunately, there's a lot of foster kids who obviously have brothers and sisters in the foster care system, and they're trying to find families to take the whole group. First time I heard of that. This is the first time I was going into this process, and so it stunned me. And I told her that we couldn't, and thought it'd be funny, and text David to say, if we had our ducks in a row, we could have 4 tomorrow. And so I was texting him, and I sent it. And so later he told me this is what happened. He said he received the text, he saw it, he was at work, and he said instantly he was getting ready to text back, woman, are you crazy? And when he got the CRA out, the Holy Spirit said to him, what if that is what I have for you? And so it's just stopped him in his tracks. And so he texted and said, okay. And I had to call him. I was like, that is not, that is not the reaction I was looking for. What are you talking about?
Now I know you're talking about constant change.
Yes.
Okay, your life is a constant change.
So he told me about the Holy Spirit, and I got scared, because when the Holy Spirit moves, he moves. And so that was, I have to tell you the timeline because it matters. That was about July or August of 2016.
So
15, sorry.
11 years after? 10?
No,
wait,
not quite that.
5. 4 or 5 years after Gabriel.
Yes. And so we decided to leave Columbia and get our lives together, buy a house together. We've both owned houses before and decided to do it together. Came to Sumter on a whim, chose a day on a whim. All of this is whim, honestly. Of course, it's God. I have to bring up God when I talk about my wife. So he comes along with the package. He leads the package, actually.
Yeah.
And so
I put this together.
We thought it was a whim. And as I weave this all together, you'll see that it's not. We arbitrarily picked a day. We really did. Woke up and said, tomorrow we're going to do this. And so on the way to ride to Sumter, we said, well, let's find a realtor. You weren't there yet. So.
Obviously not. That's fine. Who was your realtor?
Scott Burkett.
Oh, Scotty B.
And honestly, we didn't know him. I mean, I don't even remember her name, but I saw a nice lady's face. Because we were going to start flipping homes.
Okay.
And so we wanted foreclosed homes. And so we called her because it said she specialized in it, only because she looked nice on her picture. So that does matter, by the way.
Girl.
She referred.
Wait, you think I do this every day?
There you go.
Thank you.
She referred us to Scott because she actually wasn't taking clients, or maybe she wasn't in foreclosures anymore. I can't remember. But I'm so glad Scott came into our lives. He's a friend now, and I'll hurry this along. But long story short, we told Scott what we wanted. We wanted to start really small and live in it for a while and keep doing it. And so he showed us exactly what he wanted. But for some reason, Scott was put on his heart to show us the house we're in now. Way bigger than we needed. Not what we were looking for at all. And I was like, why is he showing? That's beautiful, but that's not what we want.
That's not what we're here for.
On the way back from the other house that we thought we wanted, we stopped there. Long story short, I got out. I already saw it, so it wasn't the way it looked. The Holy Spirit told me then, this is your home. So I started walking the property, praying over it. We put an offer on that day. There were 2 other offers before. Ask God, confirm it all. There was 2 other offers. They fell through. Ours went through. And that was September 11th, by the way. Okay, wow. September 11th, 2015. We both own homes. We have good credit, all of that stuff. But everything that could go wrong did. And we were just so disappointed. It was just a roller coaster. And finally, and I won't go through all of that, but 6 months later to the day, we closed. March 11th, 2016. So we got this big house that we really didn't need because it was David, myself, a dog, and a cat. And so remember this conversation that I had with the social workers. I tell you this. So people started saying, Melanie, it's time. What are you waiting for adoption? So July of that year, I put in a snail mail application to start the adoption process through the Miss Harvin's Adoption Agency. By the way, they're family too. So watch out. Everybody I talk to becomes family. I'm just saying.
Good.
So we put in snail mail in July. And the executive director of the adoption agency called me maybe a month or so later and said, Melanie, I lost a child like this too. It's going to be my mission to get you to be a mom. We had a great Yahoo moment. Woosah moment. That's funny. And maybe a week later, she called me about 4 kids.
Oh, man.
And
at one time,
at one time, they were 2, 3, and a set of 5-year-old girls. So the boys were 2 and 3, and they're 5. And when she sent it to me, I was like, oh, 5? Are you kidding? She said, no, 4. She said, are you kidding? No, Melanie, just wait, just look, just read, just be open-minded. And then the Holy Spirit reminded me of the conversation with the social worker. So I couldn't deny it.
Yeah.
And so we went through the process, met them, and they were in our home September 11th, 2016, a year to the date that we put an offer on the house.
That's so crazy.
No, it's not finished yet.
Okay.
6 months later, they were finalized. 6 months because Texas is where they're from. And in Texas, it takes 6 months to finish. So 6 months, just like the house.
March 16th.
March 10th, sorry.
March 10th.
It's March 10th of the following year, they were fully adopted. And so when people say God's not real, it's hard for me. I understand it. I do. Yeah. But it's hard for me.
Because there's so many pieces that have just come together.
It just all weaved together. It wasn't like we were planning it. We had no idea. We were not looking for 4 kids. But the story really doesn't end there. We heard that they had a smaller sibling who when was his birthday? In 2017, he was born. And so we had to fight it. Well, we had to go up and fight for him, but we were able to bring him home a year and a half ago. And so now I have 5.
Oh, yay. Well, that is quite the adventure.
It is. My life is quite the adventure.
This, Marie Harvin. Marie Harvin. Does she adopt over 7 to 8? Or does she adopt?
Well, I think she stopped because her youngest child is my age. So she was probably like, I would love to keep doing this, but, I need some.
When she was, were they were just 2 hours available?
They were, I think it was 11 or 12 boys but it had to be over 7 or 8 years old. I don't think she just curbed it at a specific age, but she just wanted to make sure it was over the
She's like, I'm going to adopt as many kids as I can.
Give them a home, give them stability, give them love, give them an opportunity to have a fighting chance in life. And she did, and she's such an inspiration. People are amazed by our 5. I'm like, I'm a lightweight.
11.
Yeah, I'm a lightweight compared to her.
Well, like, my mom's one of 5, but then both, I think her parent, I know her mom was one of 10, and then her dad was one of 4. So, but it wasn't uncommon then to be like true. 1 of 10, 1 of whatever. But now it's like, you have more than 2. Like,
I know. Like, let me tell you,
you have to have a special vehicle.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And we're looking at more because they're long. Now they're getting so tall, but. I can't tell you, even before the pandemic, but especially during the pandemic, people used to look at us crazy with the groceries that we would have to buy.
Oh, yeah, buggies. 2 buggies every week.
I went in Kmart one time with all 4 of them at the time, and people were so judgmental with the looks. It was hilarious. Yes.
Because you just had so much stuff, and you're like,
so many kids. It was, and everybody would be like, oh, you got a lot of them kids, don't you? Or, I mean, it was just, I can't remember because I try to block them out, but there were so many people that made such negative comments just in passing. Like if you're waiting for the cashier and they're like, oh, all of those yours? I mean, you can read between the lines of what they're trying to say. Or, oh, you got your hands full, don't you? And I keep wanting to say, really?
Yeah, like, really? I decided to have a lot of kids.
Why is that bothering you?
It's not, I think people just, it's something that's different. So we must say something and we have no idea what to say.
Right.
So.
Well, let me just say, if that's you, just don't say anything.
Just pipe down.
Just say hi.
Yeah, hi is always appropriate. Hey, how you doing?
That's it.
I like this kind of cereal too. Actually, side quest. It's really a pet peeve of mine when my cashier talks to me about what I have. Beep. Oh, I haven't tried these before. Beep. Is this good? Put it in the buggy. Stuff I gotta do. So, talk to you about what kind of groceries I like.
She's not going anywhere. She just wants to have a conversation. Beep. That's hilarious.
Anyway, okay, so back to, so I'm already taken by your story. Like, I love it so much. And then, so what'd you do in grad school?
I got a master's of public administration.
Public administration. And how did you get to be at Patriot Hall? And what is your title at Patriot Hall? I ask everybody what their title is because I just know where they work.
It's executive director of the Sumter County Cultural Center and Patriot Hall.
Okay. I thought it was Cultural Center and Patriot Hall. Just wanted to make sure. So how did you get to be there?
That story's not very interesting, actually. I just applied.
Why'd you want to apply?
So that was right shortly after the whole deal with moving to Sumter. And so I had never lived and worked and went to church in the same place.
Okay.
And so both David and I were commuting from Columbia, even though we lived in Sumter. And so I wanted to find something that was creative and fun, and especially with 4 kids, a little bit flexible to do where I can actually get ingrained in the community and start, volunteering, being a part of their schools and all of that. And so that door opened.
Cultural Center sounds definitely something like you can get involved in the community. I think that's something that brings all kinds of people together.
It's been fun.
Yeah, people like pretty things.
Yes.
They like to gather around and talk about it.
And it's also a neutral way to bring people from all walks of life together. And that's kind of, the Cultural Commission is the appointed arm that works with me as well. And that's one of our missions, to kind of, obviously give opportunities for arts and culture, but also to help people see and experience things with other people of other walks of life at the same time. So it's not a political thing. It's not, it's not divisive. It's just fun, hopefully.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for people to come together.
So people are coming together, and I'm just trying to get a really good picture of what you're doing at work. Like, it's Monday at 9, and what do you go do?
Oh my goodness. So a lot of it is talking to people in the community. So especially when I first got here, but still now too, not since the pandemic, of course, but
Right.
I try to get in front of people and just talk what is missing, like what demographic is not being fed in Sumter cultural arts. Who else is doing cultural arts? So I do a lot of talking to people and also brainstorming. What can we do to come together? What can we do to, let me give you an example of that brainstorm. So I went to the South Carolina Arts Commission in, let me back up. I didn't answer your question because it's not a typical day.
Okay,
So
yeah.
that's why I'm trying to just give you an example. So I talked to someone at the South Carolina Arts Commission about what is possible, what's out there when I first got here, and she gave me a laundry list. And so I looked at the laundry list and said, who else would be interested in this thing? Who might be? And so I reached out to the school district, to the Central Carolina Community Foundation, because they had the money to do it. I reached out to several organizations here, and then we came up with yarn bombing, and that's when we bombed.
Yes.
Because what I was trying to do was get people out of their homes. I was trying to get people who never.
I think you achieved that goal.
I think I did. Thank you, Lord. I mean, it was so amazing because we had young people, old people, we had people of all walks of life. We had over 2,000 students. And over 100 volunteers that just came together over a year on their own. And some of it I didn't even have to facilitate. And I would just pop in on there. And I was like, oh my God, this makes me feel so good. And some of the great people that helped me lead it, they're still friends today. I had no idea who they were. They saw an ad in the item. Do you like to,
Thanks, the item.
Do you like to crochet? Can you crochet? Do you want to do something fun for about a year? And now they're some of my great friends, and I'm telling you, I don't know that our paths would have crossed had it not been for that. And so I think Central Carolina and the Item and several other people in the community who just, they were so open and gracious to do it. And then I was like, what can I do next? And we're still trying to find that next thing.
You're kind of like a community cultural instigator.
I love it. I will put that on my business card. I love it.
Like, I'm a community instigator.
Love that. But yeah, it is kind of that. And we're also, I asked the county, and they're still considering it, to be able to do, and it's a money thing, so it's not on them as far as they don't want to do it, but to have a season at Patriot Hall, so that instead of just renting it out to people who want to do things there and attracting business, we're able to bring big acts in, and we haven't really been able to do that in the past. And they gave me a small pot of money to do that, and so we brought in a few people, and it did very well. So then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if people are ready. I'm not sure if it's
I feel like that probably was growing right at the cusp of an Inspire Festival.
It was, and I'm a part of that too, as you know.
Yeah, you're on the board.
And so I'm just excited. I was just excited during that time when COVID happened, that oh my gosh, all these great things are coming up in the name of arts and culture, and I think it'll revive when all of this is over.
It was such a cool concept of the Inspire Festival this year, and having, because a whole week of just like. When you start defining things of like what's art, literally everything.
Yes,
like you can really make that definition broad. And so to span across different cultures and times and just bring it all together for like 1 week of fun, I can see how that would bring a lot of momentum to Patriot Hall and having a show there. And so the Gallery of Art is upstairs there.
Downstairs and upstairs, yeah.
Do you have any involvement with that?
I'm on their board as an ex officio member. I support them, obviously, with Karen. We've been trying to figure out ways to have more synergy as well, but they are an independent nonprofit organization, as is Sumter Little Theater. But we do collaborate. As a matter of fact, when the commission has Fall for the Arts, which is also a week-long arts festival, and we typically try to bring both of those entities in as well and make sure we try to schedule it around something they're already doing and give them a day to be a part of the fun.
Well, that's really great. Well, since you're talking to Sumter right now, what would you want them to know about Patriot Hall?
Wow. We are growing. It's just so hard. We're just at a stalemate right now because we don't know what the future. The majority of the things that the commission Patriot Hall does, or what we do, is centered around big community events. We have a lot of festivals. We have a lot of fun. We do SwanCon, which is the comic book festival.
I love SwanCon. That means my friend Nick Salcido.
Yes, love Nick.
I love Nick so much.
Hate that he had to go. He was a commissioner at one time.
Yes, yes, I did know this. So I'm so sorry to interrupt. So you do big festivals, and SwanCon was part of them.
SwanCon was one. We just started Inspire the Fire, which was a performing arts camp for high school and middle school students. And it was phenomenal last year. We had about 88 students for our first year.
That is super cool.
And with Herbert Johnson, who's at Morris College now, we were actually in the lab trying to figure out how to make it bigger and brighter, and then COVID happened. So we're hoping to revive that into 2021 also. But that's what I mean. It's what can we do that the community doesn't have already? I don't want to recreate anything because we have a lot of interesting things happening. I was just really concerned about what demographic is not being served and what things weren't already coming here. But what do I want you to know? CeCe Winans is definitely coming. We had her booked in July, but because of COVID, we're kind of in limbo of what happens with that. We either will do it in the fall or maybe the spring of next year, but we'll hopefully have that answer this summer. If we're able to have Fall for the Arts, the Russian Ballet is coming. If that happens, we will have a Chinese theater.
That is super fun and cool.
A whole lot of other surprises in between. So,
I feel like I'm keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry. But when you say you want to look for the demographic that's underserved, have you come up with an answer for that, or do you have a demographic that you're really focused on?
Well, let me straighten that out just a little. Okay. So we shoot for everybody, obviously, because we're a county entity. But we don't want to be heavy one way or the other.
Right.
So I did learn that our Latino community probably isn't served as much.
Yeah.
African American maybe not either, and so that's why we have done things in those two directions for sure, but obviously things across the board. We have a staple at Fall for the Arts, Salsa Night, and the Thompsons are sweet enough to partner with us at La Piazza to let us do it there, and it's a live band, and it's a whole lot of fun.
I remember this, yes, because you were talking about it earlier, and I was like, I feel like Salsa Night is one of the nights that I had double booked something, and I was like, the one night that I missed, because that was Fall for the Arts, right?
Yes,
yeah, it was a whole week of stuff.
Yes.
Loved it.
We also partnered with the Sumter Shag Club. I think it was last year.
Those crazy lunatics.
Love them.
I know. They're so fun.
We had shagging jazz at Patriot Hall. They were shagging outside. We had jazz inside. So even though I say we're looking for demographics, I just want to make sure in our programming that we're touching as many lives,
people as possible,
and we're giving things for everyone. But there's always limitations because it's hard for us to ask for money because we're not a 501c3. We are a government entity, and so we don't get the luxury of doing that. But I do look to see possible grants. And
coming your way.
So we do get some from Sumter, South Carolina Arts Commission, and we did get that one from Central Carolina. And I'm just looking for other opportunities.
I just think Sumter's such a cool little place. It's so little, but there are so many. We have a newspaper here. Other communities this size typically don't have a newspaper here. We have you and Patriot Hall, and we have all these little things. We have a brewery now.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and we're just like this small place, so we get all these bigger pieces at a town this size wouldn't normally have. And I just feel like that's the community as a whole being like, we will have fun together.
Yes.
we are going, like, clawing, holding on to it, like, we are going to stay informed, and we are going to have fun together, and that's how it is.
And you just have to live with it.
Uh-huh, absolutely. Gosh, I hate that I'm running out of time, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
I won't talk so long. I'm so sorry.
No, did you, so your master's, you got a master's in
Public administration.
Have you done any other schooling?
Yeah, no, just kidding.
Tell me about it.
No, actually, more certifications than anything. I'm a lifelong learner. Honestly, if I could get paid to learn, I would not be at a 9-to-5 doing anything. I would just be in someone's classroom,
reading.
Like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Wow. So I have a lot of I have a certificate, grant writing, nonprofit management from Duke, nonprofit management from Francis Marion.
All of that stuff lends itself really well to what you do. Did you get these things after you were already in the position?
No, that was way before. I've for about 10, 15 years, I've been in association work, nonprofit management. I worked at USC Columbia for a while. I was a deputy director at SC Thrive, which is a state nonprofit. Gosh, what else did I do? Oh, South Carolina Association of School Administrators. I was a director of training there.
I bet
Municipal
you just
Association of
know
South
all
Carolina.
the people.
I do know a lot of people. My husband says that anyway, but I'm always amazed at how many people I still don't know and who still don't know me, which is fine because I'm not seeking. You know, I just took a personality test recently, and I took one 25 years ago, and I have definitely changed. I am an introvert. People are like, no, you're not. Yes, I am. I used to be a really social person, extrovert, so that's probably why I knew so many people. Not so much now.
I appreciate that so much. I, too, am an introvert, and people are like, no. And I'm like, after the last podcast, I was like, well, maybe I am extroverted.
No,
and I'm
don't
like,
want to change your mind.
No.
You just know
I want to be home. I want to be
I'd rather
home,
be home.
and when I am home, it needs to be quiet, and I get real cranky if I go too long without that time. I mean...
Well, we just love we love our company, so.
I have great company. I appreciate that about you.
Nobody can appreciate my company more than me.
You know what temperature you like the house. You know where all the stuff is in the fridge. You pick the best music for yourself.
I'm funny. I laugh at my own jokes. You know, I get my jokes.
I'm not embarrassed to say that I will bust out laughing at home alone. I'm like, that was funny.
That's right. Who else is going to do that?
Who else is going to do that? Okay, so there are a litany of questions that I ask people at the end of this. And I forgot to write them down beforehand. If you passed on and I'm sure you don't believe in this, but for fun, were reincarnated into some sort of animal, what animal would you want to be?
I don't want to come back. I've never done it once. I'm good.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm sorry.
So after, that's okay. After, if you could make it professional in a sport, what sport would you do?
Talk.
That's fine. You can be debate. Debate's a sport, right?
They could have it.
And then, gosh, there's another question that I have that I didn't write down. The reincarnation one, the pro baller one, and guys, do you remember which one? Help me out. Because I asked Vince, and it was okay. Yeah. Here, I found him. If you could be famous for something, what would it be?
Bringing, and this is going to sound cheesy, probably, but it's the truth. Bringing people to Christ.
No, that's not cheesy at all. I respect and admire that. Man, you are laser focused on what you want to do with life.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we be friends?
We're already there, girl. And I touched her, and it's COVID. You know I'm your friend.
I touched every single person since COVID started happening, so it's fine. And if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Gosh, that's really hard, and I thought about that before. Maybe reading people's minds, because I'm a sofa psychiatrist. Like, I always watch people and like, oh, she's hurting. You know, I'm gonna have to pray for her. I can see that that anger is really just something else is going on. Yeah. So not to be nosy, but to just feel.
But if you knew what they were thinking, maybe you could help with that need. I love that so much. That's, again, super focused on you know, what you want to do. I feel like I found one of my people. I just love the community.
Part of the tribe.
Part of the tribe. You just like love Jesus. We're here for that reason. Let's just do it.
Let's do it. And be happy about it. Oh.
I only cry when my sister comes on. You're not allowed to make me cry. So,
sorry. I'm not sorry.
I know. I have run you over, and now I'm a little bit because today's the first day of curfew.
Well, if I go to jail, I'm calling you for bail money.
972-3618.
I'm calling you.
We will put a Venmo so you get shot. So anyway, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely, thank you for
and
inviting
monopolizing your time and sharing your story. It's so important to share our stories, and it can be hard.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And we will get together with a bigger group of people to talk about everything going on.
Looking forward to that.
All right. Well,
thank you.
No problem. Thank you. And thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me and Melanie talk. And as always, we are powered by F45. And we love you. Talk to you soon. I'm done. I feel good about it. I like that you guys are here.
That was great.
Yeah.
I love getting to sit on all of this.
So
Even though I do listen to them twice.
Yeah. Well, you know.